have to unmute. Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad to be with you this morning. And it's an honor to be with you because I know that you're all very busy people and you have a lot to do. And I want to help you understand how you can do more or just be in the space of being more in your life and in other people's lives too. I'm a chiropractor who does energy healing. I started off in theater and got my Bachelor of Fine Arts from Boston University in theater production, and then took a big left turn and went into massage therapy. And the place that I liked to work the best as a massage therapist was in chiropractic offices. And so I thought, well, nothing's stopping me. I'll just go to chiropractic college. So I moved from the East Coast out to Iowa, where chiropractic was founded at Palmer College, which is where the Mississippi River runs east and west, not north and south. So we call that where the Mississippi is subluxated. That's where chiropractic started. So the first chiropractic adjustment was given over 100 years ago. I know the building. It's on Brady Street in Davenport. And we really, the basic philosophy of chiropractic is that we don't add anything, we don't take anything away. We just make sure that the innate ability of the body to heal does not have interference. So we're removing interference, if you want to call it that. So things are moving easily. And the nervous system is the communication system for the body, but it's more than that too. And we want to make sure that that system is working without interference. So the question I always had was, okay, so if the bone moves out of place and is pressing on the nerve, what's causing the bone to move out of place? And there's four things that cause that to happen: toxins, trauma, thoughts, and timing. Now at Palmer, they teach toxins, trauma, and thoughts, but I had to go and learn elsewhere about the timing part. Because if it's the bone moving out of place, that means that there's muscles contracting and the muscles are pulling on the bone and moving it out of place. So I'm just going to give you a little anatomy lesson right now. Can you handle it? It's just a little bit. So you have a nervous system that has basically three parts. I'm going to simplify this. But you could go to Guyton's textbook of medical physiology and read all of this if you like. But the nervous system has three parts. One part is controlled by your thinking mind, your thoughts, which is frontal brain. And that means that if I want to point to my head, all the muscles in my arm and hand move so that I can point to my head. About 1/9 of your nervous system transmits pain. And then the other part of your nervous system is the autonomic nervous system, or the automatic nervous system. And that is controlling everything else. So if your muscles are controlled by your thoughts, then what is your other part of your nervous system controlled by? Well, it's controlled by your feelings. It's controlled by how you feel about things. So it's very, 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 very important to understand how you feel and to acknowledge how you feel and to own how you feel and honor how you feel. So when we do that, then we can release those negative feelings, keep the positive ones, and move forward. And this is the problem that happens. The things that happen in your body, mind, spirit create patterns of physiology. And these patterns of physiology get stuck on, and they just keep going and going and going. I've worked on people and we found patterns that have been there since they were born, since they were 3 years old. And these patterns happen with high intense emotion or with chronic emotion. And it's nothing that is your fault. This is human beings. This is how we work. And so what happens is these patterns of physiology get stuck. So let me ask you a question. When you're going to the grocery store, let's say you get in your car, you got to get some stuff at the store. Are you thinking about driving, or are you thinking about what you're getting at the store? Raise your hand if you think about what you're going to get at the store. Right. Because driving is now a subconscious pattern that you can do. It doesn't mean that you have to put a lot of thought behind it. So what happens is your body's doing this pattern of physiology, And it's easy for it to do it. It's just like walking. You had to learn how to walk. Once you get that pattern ingrained in your brain, you don't have to think about walking anymore. But let's say you have a situation where you're in danger and you're in fear. Now, when you go into fight or flight response, that's one half of your autonomic nervous system. The other half is rest, digest, and heal. So when you're in fight or flight response, you don't have a way to put a brake on that. You have an accelerator. You have the adrenal system, that's your accelerator. And you also have all these things that help do that, but you don't have anything that is a brake. So unlike your adrenals, you don't have another gland that goes, okay, stop that. That doesn't happen. So what happens is your body just keeps going on that. It keeps doing that. And what happens when that happens is your body gets stuck doing something that it's not supposed to be doing. So what happens when you are in fight or flight response? Your blood pressure goes up, your breathing gets more shallow, your pupils dilate, you might lose control of your bladder function. This is all things that happen in fight or flight, because all the blood in your body when you're in fight or flight goes to the periphery, goes to the large muscle groups so you can run or fight. There's also a freeze component where you can't do anything. This is why people say, I got stuck, I didn't know what to do, so I didn't do anything. I was in fight or flight or freeze. So what happens when that continues and becomes a subconscious pattern with high intense emotion or chronically? It means that you can't think straight, you don't make good decisions, you can't be creative because your body's in survival mode. This is what happens when people have PTSD. And everyone has some form of post-traumatic stress because we've all been through COVID. And there's also more than that. You don't have to be a combat vet to have PTSD. You could have been a child that was in an abusive home. You could have somebody that said something once to you and it wrecked everything, because as a child, you have no screen, you have no way to protect yourself from what people are saying around you. So you take it in. That's why most children of divorced parents think it's their fault, because the world revolves around them, their children. And then we continue that on instead of getting it corrected. So what I do in the work that I do is help people release those things that don't really serve, that are in bad timing. That's the body doing something that's not happening presently. So let me just show you a little diagram of this so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. So this is a picture, a diagram of something that happens in your life. Let's say you're at the 5 and Dime. Remember they had those back in the day, 5 and 10 stores? We used to go get wax lips. And let's say you decide you're going to take something from the store. So there's a little bit of guilt that happens. And that's continuing because you know you did it. And you know the difference between right and wrong by the time you're 6 years old. So there's some guilt. And then that goes unchecked. And then it becomes anxiety. Someone's going to find out what I do. So there's now guilt and then a layer of anxiety. These are all physiological suits of physiology that your body is doing. So think of each of these feelings as a physiology that your body is running. Let's say you feel like people are being treated better than you because they didn't have this going on. So there's some jealousy going on. And then maybe because of all of these negative feelings, there's some ridicule that's happening. And eventually you're going to get to the point where symptoms show up. And this is where dis-ease happens. So you have a symptom. So the physical symptom is pretty much the last thing that shows up. Any questions? Feel free.
So as a brother of an addict and recovering addict, okay, I'm assuming like all of these things have come into play throughout his life, right? And
Yep.
obviously the symptoms that showed up, meaning the loss of job and all of that stuff that started
The
coming.
symptom is the addiction. That's the symptom. The problem is something happening way down here. Every time it becomes a physical thing, that's the symptom. Heart disease is a symptom. Cancer is a symptom. You keep thinking, and they've taught you, and you've understood that the dis-ease is the problem. That's the symptom. These are all physiologies running in the body, running the body. What happens when you're in fight or flight? These are all examples of fear. Everything, it's all fear. So when you have that happening, know that there's something that happened before that that created that physiology. So the physiology of the addiction, and they say it's a disease. Well, yeah, of course it's a disease. There's symptoms. That's the symptom. This is all the reason why it happened. All of that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If it doesn't, let me know. I want to share some more with you about this because it's so important that you understand. It's a completely different way of looking at what is happening to our bodies and what's happening in disease process. So it's important for you to remember that, like, it's not always, you know, we're always looking for the actual root cause of the problem. That's the thing. And most people are looking at the disease and treating the disease. Does that make sense? And they say, oh, it's a chemical malfunction. Well, what started that? Did it start in utero? Sometimes. Sometimes it's handed down through all kinds of reasons. I mean, think about it. Everybody in this country, everybody, not just a few, everybody in this country has either come here because they didn't have any place else to go and they came with nothing. They were brought in as slaves or they were killed off. Anybody here that's has that European background came because there was nothing else they could do. Desperation. This goes way back. It doesn't stop just because we're born here. So it's in the DNA. It's in the memory of the DNA too. And that's called epigenetics.
Does it compound over generations?
Yeah. Well, think about it. It could, because if you're being told over and over again, well, we came from nothing, we came from nothing, we came from nothing, we came from nothing. What does that do to you as a
Well,
child?
must be nothing.
Yeah. Then you equate yourself with nothing. And like only as a child and as a being that has no protection against this kind of information, you take it in and you go, well, then I must be nothing. That could happen. I'll give you a really specific example. People who have eating disorders often feel that that's the only way that they have control over their physical being, is to either withhold food or to get rid of it after they eat it. And what we've seen is that there's some disconnect between them and the reality of their body. And that happens through childhood sexual abuse, childhood abuse, made to feel like you're not lovable, that there's no way anyone could love you. So there's a deficit there. So we see a baby and we think, oh, this baby's so perfect and beautiful. How could you not love it? And then they have no protection against any of this stuff that's going on around them. So the body goes into fight or flight. And when you're in fight or flight, like I said, the blood leaves the center of your body. This is why they tell you to wait for half an hour before you go swimming after you eat, because the blood is all in the center of your body. So if you get in trouble out in the water, you can't swim your way out because there's not enough energy there to do that. It's all in the center, trying to put the food where it belongs and put the nutrients where it belongs. Get rid of the waste products, not in the periphery, not in your large muscle groups. And so when you try to do something and you're like, God, my stomach isn't right, something's wrong, or you have digestive problems, that's an indicator that you're stuck in fight or flight. I had a young woman here coming in for chiropractic care, and I do this work with those people that come in, and she's dealing with cancer in her 20s, has already had a double mastectomy and a hip replaced, and she couldn't eat, couldn't keep anything down. And as soon as we addressed the abuse that happened to her as a child, she was able to eat again, and she started putting on weight. And so it's a really important thing to be able to get yourself out of fight or flight response. Absolutely integral. Think of the people that you're talking to about what you're talking about. Is everyone here part of Primerica?
No.
Okay, so some of you are talking to people about the most disastrous thing that could happen in your life. Some of you aren't, that's okay. But that's what insurance is for, right? To help you get through those times. Now you're talking about it. Now you're triggering it. Now you're thinking about it. What's the body going to do? Can go into fight or flight really quickly. So I'm going to show you a really simple way that you can get out of fight or flight response. And you can do it in 32 seconds. Are you game for trying this out? Okay, good. So I want you to exhale all the air that you have in your body. Just exhale and hold it out for a moment. And we're going to count to 4 and inhale. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold it in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now exhale through your nose, 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold it out again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your nose, 2, 3, 4. Hold it out, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead and breathe normally. Now I want you to put in the chat, if you felt calmer, put a 1. What we're doing here is we're telling the body, it's okay, I'm in control, I'm taking over my breathing because I want to remain calm. You can do this anytime you go into fight or flight, anytime at all. It's going to work every single time. And they're teaching this to, I just saw it in a movie where they taught it to Marines. This needs to be taught to every EMT worker because they go into fight or flight situations all the time. And it takes hours to come back to rest, digest, and heal. Those are your 2 choices. Your body can do fight or flight response or can do rest, digest, and heal. Yeah, you can place both feet on the ground. It really doesn't matter. But you can also do this when you're laying down to go to sleep at night. If you wake up in the middle of the night, do 4-count breathing. This is the simplest thing I can teach you. In this little box that we have, I have another one that I can teach you too. And I want to make sure that you're all on the same page. Did everybody have that experience of being now they're in a different space? If I'm in a room with you, you can feel the room completely changes when we do this. So it makes everything calmer.
Can we do it again? Can we
Yeah.
do it again?
You can
Because
do
I
it while
didn't
I'm
get it.
talking. You can do it while I'm talking. So, okay, so we're going to start again and we'll do it around twice, but I have my clients and patients do this for 5 to 10 minutes a day because you have to get used to doing this so that when you get into a situation, your body goes, oh, fight or flight response, I'm doing 4-count breathing. So it's really good to practice it anytime. You can make a rule for yourself. I'm going to do it at a red light. Or if I get stuck in traffic, I'm going to 4-count breathe instead of swearing at the guy in front of me who just cut me off, right? That's a better way. We want to keep ourselves calm. It's not that we want to negate that we have feelings. We always have feelings, and I'm going to show you how to deal with that in a minute. But this is a really quick way to deal with it. And I'm going to challenge you, if you really want to learn this, teach it to somebody else. Teach it to a child. teach it to them on their way to bed so that they understand, like, this is a way for me to calm myself. So, okay, so everybody exhale all the air out and breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your nose. 2, 3, 4. Hold it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe normally. Now, can you imagine doing that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes? What's your body going to do? It's going to come back to rest, digest, and heal. You'll want your body to heal. It's a self-healing, self-regulating thing. I want to say mechanism, but we're not mechanical. We are more than that. We are spirit too. So we're spiritual beings having a human experience. I did coin that phrase. That was Telyard. So I want to remind you that you can live without food for a few days, right? You can live without water for a little while, but 4 minutes without breathing. You have to breathe. And so every time you do some intentional breathing, whether it's 4-count breathing or 4 and 8 breathing or whatever kind of breathing that you're doing, you're putting attention on the thing that gives you life, the thing that actually animates you. So when you're putting attention on that, inspiration, it's called inspiration for a reason. You're inviting spirit in when you breathe in, and you can exhale gratitude. So as you breathe in, inspiration. As you exhale, thank you, gratitude. It's that simple to connect with source energy too, because you're putting your attention on the thing that gives you life. And what's more important than that? Not much. So as you're doing this breathing exercise, you can actually use, in transcendental meditation, they use a mantra, but you can use that inspiration, gratitude as a mantra for what you're breathing in. Inspiration, inviting spirit in. Gratitude, thank you, thank you, thank you. Making it simple. So these are all techniques that you can use to calm yourself before you're going to do a talk, to allow yourself to really be present with other people as opposed to just, being there with them. This is a more intentional kind of beingness. Does that make sense? I hope so. So what we're talking about here is that subconscious emotional memory that overrides present time. When I'm talking about that, that's that stair step. That's subconscious emotional memories. So your body has now taken a memory that's filled with emotion, made it subconscious. You don't know what's happening, and it's overriding present time. How do you know that's happening? Well, it happens when you can't stop thinking about something that happened and you keep replaying it over and over and over again. It happens when you have a reaction to something that isn't the same level as what's actually happening, like flying off the handle, people say. When you lose your temper and you don't know why, these are mysterious kinds of behaviors that indicate to you that you're having an emotional memory that's subconscious. So it's running your physiology and it's taking you over. Anybody have anything like that happen? Nah, you're probably all right in present moment all the time, Fred. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that.
Real quick question.
Yeah.
Does it matter if you breathe in through the nose or the mouth? I feel like it doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Oh, it
And
does.
the reason
Okay.
why it does is because when you breathe in through your nose, your sinuses are shaped like a spiral, and that speeds the air up and it activates parts of the brain. So breathing
Okay.
through the nose is absolutely important. That's why I
Okay.
say exhale through the nose, inhale through the nose. You want to keep
Okay.
your mouth closed when you're breathing. No mouth breathing. That is not good for your health at all. It also can't filter the air as well. That's why you have all the cilia, the hair in your nose, because it's filtering the air. So it's catching stuff. Any other questions before I continue? Feel free. Okay, so if you come up with something, you can put it in the chat too, that's fine. It's important for you to remember, I believe it's important, I should say, in my humble opinion, it's important for you to remember that you're a human being, you're not a human doing. So being comes first. So a great way to start your day is doing 4-count breathing. I want to share this too, because this is something that I give to all my clients that work with me. It's a little card and it says, you are a divine expression of love. Now, if you want to see yourself in any other way, this is the way that you could actually do this. So this is you, physical form, standing on the earth, protected by this white light and connected to the part of you that's always connected to source. So when you look at this picture, you can see there's beams coming in and out of that source, that higher self. That's your wise, eternal self. It's all in there. It's always there. And this is something that you can use to remind yourself while you're doing 4-count breathing. I'm a divine expression of love. That's what I am. That's how I got here. You know, if you study embryology for even 2 weeks, you are just amazed that we all come out with a face on the front of our head, because so many things can go wrong. And it's absolutely incredible that we all come out looking pretty much the same. On the back of this card is an affirmation. And the affirmation says, I accept life and take it in easily. I'm worthy of all good things. I am deeply grateful for all I create and receive. And you can use that as a way to continue doing 4-count breathing. I want to also show you a really great technique that I use with all of my clients and patients called emotional freedom technique or tapping technique. If you've ever had anyone talk to you about this, it's a way of you subverting that negative paradigm. Now, I'm talking about emotions, negative and positive. I don't say good or bad because I'm not judging whether they're good or bad. There's just negative ones that are based on fear and positive ones based on love. Every negative feeling is a fear feeling. Every positive feeling is a love feeling. And I'll show you this. This is a chart, one of the charts I use when I'm doing work with my patients and my clients. Negative and positive feelings. This chart was developed by Dr. M.T. Morter Jr. He was a chiropractor. He said, why am I moving bones if it's really the emotions that are in control? And the reason why he said that is because he went to move a bone and it kept going out of place. Every time he'd adjust it, he'd check it again, it would go out of place. And he said, you know, there's something else going on here. This shouldn't be the same thing. Yeah. Inhale through your nose. Yeah. So you have to, what you have to do is see how you're feeling. You have to check in with yourself. Now, most people are taught in this culture, don't admit your feelings, don't show your feelings, don't even have feelings. And that is basically ridiculous because you're a human being. That's how we encounter the world, is through our feelings. How do I feel about this color? I don't like it. You know, it's like you have preferences, you have choices that you make. How does this person strike you? Oh, they're a stranger, they're a danger. This is a thing that we've taught children, stranger danger, but we don't teach them how to recognize when somebody's okay. What's your feeling about this person? How does that feel? And when we actually actively engage with our feelings, then we have some power in our lives. We're not powerless, we're powerful. So there's 140 feelings on this chart. That's only part of the feelings that you have. And you've had all of these, I'm sure, because you're a human being. And what we do is go into the subconscious by using muscle testing to find out what the body's really telling us. We work on that level with people. So I can find out when I'm working with people individually what's going on with them through muscle testing. And it's really simple. I'm going to show you how to do it right now. Really easy. Just rub your thumb and your finger together and ask your physical self, show me a yes, and see how that feels. Now, for me, when I ask for a yes, it's real smooth. But watch what happens when I ask for a no. Show me a no. Sticky. Show me a yes. Show me a no. Show me a yes. Show me a no. Ask for the yes and ask for the no. Are you noticing that it changes? Just nod if you notice that it changed. Cool. So here's the thing. Your body does that in all kinds of ways. When I'm working with somebody, yeah, it's kind of amazing. When I'm working with somebody right here on the table, on this adjusting table, their leg length changes for yes and no. And I can do it really, really fast. So I'm asking lots of questions. And what's responding to me is their inner self. I'm not telling them, hey, tell me a thing that happened to you. No, I'm asking the body. Show me a yes or no. Is it something in their past? Yes. How old were they? Because it's yes or no. Excuse me, how old were they? Were they 0 to 5 years old? Yes. So what happens is the body's responding to what I'm asking. It can't lie. It's just giving me the answers yes and no. And you can do this all day long for yourself. Start practicing with it. The question you want to ask each time is you want to ask for the yes and the no so you know what they are, because they can switch. And then you want to ask, is it to the highest good? Is it to the highest good for me to take the interstate or to go through town? Show me a yes. Show me a no. Is it the highest good for me to take the interstate? No. Is it the highest good for me to go through town? Yes. Simple. Is it to the highest good for me to have this ice cream? No. I kind of know that already. Is it to the highest good for me to have broccoli? Yes. But the fact is, if you can't handle sugar very well, it's not going to help you to eat sugar. So you're asking, is it to the highest good? Not is it to my highest good? Not to my good, to the highest good. That's what you want to ask each
Doctor,
time.
there's a beer made by a independent brewer down here called The Truth. And I can't handle the truth, I'll admit that. But I like my ice cream. So that's all.
Yeah, you can override anything you want. So what I tell people is don't ask the question if you already know what you're going to do. Just deal with the consequences of your decision, because you will have to, one way or the other. That's just life. So when you're asking questions about what you can put in your body or around your body or what's toxic or what's not toxic, those are the kinds of questions that you're going to ask. It's really important for you to remember that you have this power within you. You've probably ignored it or didn't know about it. That's ignorance is bliss, not necessarily, because if you know how to do this, you can actually make your life even more blissful. So one of the things that I want to teach you about tapping an emotional freedom technique is that when you honor, acknowledge, and own your feelings, you can release them. So we have a couple minutes. I want you to close your eyes, put your feet on the ground, take a nice deep breath, feel the weight of your body in your chair, feel the chair supporting you. Take another deep breath. Allow yourself to just be in this space right at this moment. And as you take your next deep breath, just let your body come back to its natural rhythm of breathing. I want you to think of a time when you made a terrible mistake, like maybe the worst mistake you've ever made. And I want you to think about this just for a moment. And I want you to go deeply into it. But on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the worst thing you could do, and 1 being, yeah, not such a big deal. Where do you see yourself in this situation? What number are you at? And just put that in the chat. You can open your eyes and put that in the chat. What number are you at when you think of this worst mistake? And what are the feelings that you're having about it? What are some of the feelings that you have? You don't have to be specific about what happened. I just want you to put in a feeling word, like the feelings on this chart. Did you feel guilty? Did you feel selfish? Did you feel regret? What are some of the feelings that you've had about this? Regret, guilt, yep. Anything else? Frustrated. Powerless. Scared and angry, yeah. Yes. Yeah. All of these things, just wrong. I felt so wrong. Okay, so I want you to do what I do and say what I say. So I want you to tap on your eyebrows right here. And just see yourself in that moment and say, there I am. 2 fingers right on your eyebrows. Tap, tap, tap. There I am. Move to the side of your eyes. Feeling regret. Tap under the eyes. Feeling guilty. Tapping right under your nose. Feeling powerless. Under the lips. Feeling scared. Under the collarbone. Feeling angry. And then under the arm, about 4 inches below your armpit, feeling just wrong. Top of the head. I'm feeling all of these negative feelings. And eyebrows again. And there's nothing I can do about it now. It's all in the past. Side of the eye. But when I think about it, I have all these feelings of regret, anxiety under the eyes, anger under the lips, and scared. And under the collarbone. And I'm just going to honor my feelings. Under the arm. I acknowledge my feelings. About 4 inches below the armpit. I own my feelings, top of the head. Eyebrows again, and I honor my feelings. Now I want you to take a deep breath and think back to that thing that happened, that mistake that you made. And did it change? Has that number gone down? Stayed the same? Gone up? Go ahead, put that in the chat. Stayed the same? Mary Beth, we're going to have to tap on that some more. And maybe we didn't hit the exact feeling that you're feeling about it, but when you tap on that feeling, you'll know it because you'll feel it. You'll feel it. Yeah. Whenever you do tapping, you're subverting that energy. You're actually tapping on acupuncture points, which is the way the energy flows through the body.
Omar, you got a question?
Good. And for those of you who
Yes,
are
I've been practicing this at night when I lay down to go to bed, and it really
Yeah.
helps. It just
Yeah.
shortens the time before you go to sleep. Laying in your bed and going through these 4 steps is amazing. So
Yep,
thank you.
it will change your life. Yes.
So, and if you get up in the middle of the night, use it again to get back to sleep.
Yep. I did that last night. I tap and I go, I'm going to have restful sleep. Restful, rejuvenating sleep. I sleep through the night easily and effortlessly. I'm so grateful to have good sleep. For those of you who aren't tapping, what's going to happen is you're going to watch this with people and you won't get the benefit of the tapping by watching it. You actually have to tap to do it because it only works if you're actually touching those spots, because that's the way energy is flowing through your body. And when you do this, it's like magic. It will change things. If you're still feeling the same about this mistake you made, that you feel like you have to keep thinking about it, I would challenge you to keep doing this tapping every day about this mistake and let those feelings come up and then just honor those feelings. You're a human being, you're going to have negative feelings, but you don't have to keep telling yourself that you're supposed to and that you should. There's this thing, it's called forgiveness. And when you forgive yourself and you have compassion for yourself and you fill that cup up, it flows over to everybody that you come into contact with. They can see it, they can feel it, they don't know what it is, but they want it, they want it, they want more of it. So every time you release this layer upon layer upon layer of guilt, regret, anger, frustration, upset, every time you release a layer of that, it lightens your burden. This is enlightenment. I'm showing you how to do it right now in real time. This is the lighter part of you, the part that says, I can let that go. Because believe me, punishing yourself for another 5 years is not going to work. It never has worked. It won't work. Those are the saboteurs in your mind that are telling you you should never change, because change is so dangerous. But what if it's changed for the better? Those saboteurs in your mind, they don't want you to change. They don't want things to be better. They want to keep things exactly the same. So even when you're tapping, you can tap on that. I don't want to change. It's too scary. What will happen to the people around me? You could tap on anything. Tap on what you're feeling and what you're telling yourself and say it out loud when you're alone. Nobody has to hear you. You can do it without talking. You can do it silently. It's okay. But this will happen to change your life and will create a space for more people to want to be with you and working with you. So you're all entrepreneurs here, right? Is that true?
Some folks are in transition as well.
Yeah. So this is the thing that helps people to move into the life that they really want instead of staying with the life that doesn't really serve them anymore. What's so important about this is that if everybody did that, everybody would be living to their highest good. And your highest good is good for everyone. You're not being selfish, you're being full, and then it spills over to everyone else. So I think it's life or death. That's the way I think about it, because there are people who really need this, that are living in a prison of their own making because they think that that's what they're supposed to do. So I work with a lot of people in grief because someone passed, grief because they got divorced, grief because they had to move, grief because of COVID. They couldn't be with their loved one who died. I mean, some of us feel like that is the way that we honor them, is to feel bad about it. But let me tell you something, that's not the way you honor someone who's passed. In 1994, my husband and I were getting ready for the birth of our first baby together. He had 2 children from his previous marriage, and we were having a baby boy. And right during labor, he died, and we had a stillborn baby. And I had to make a decision. Do I really believe that everything happens to the highest good? Because this is not good. This is a terrible thing. I judged it as a terrible tragedy. And what I realized was that I wanted to live as if everything does happen to the highest good. So show me the good, bring it on. I want to see it. I want to feel it. Show me where the good is in this situation, because this is awful. And I looked to my left, and there was my husband going through the same thing, nurturing me, supporting me, telling me when to take a breath because they over-medicated me and I stopped breathing, keeping me alive. And he was going through it too. And I saw this amazing being of love and our friends and family that surrounded us, that held my baby. It was an amazing experience. We had all kinds of strange things happen. that reminded us and assured us that everything was really okay and that everyone dies. Sometimes we die when we're young, sometimes we die when we're old, sometimes we die because there was an accident or because we got sick or we were just done. And it's not a terrible thing. We're all going to do it. And so how do I want to think about this? How do I want to feel about this? I feel like his life was a gift, very short life, but he got so much accomplished. And Thursday, my husband and I are celebrating the 33rd anniversary of the day we met, because that was the momentous day. And I want to share with you that you can have the life you want. I became a blues singer at age 50. Have my own band for the first time. And we have 3 gigs this week, all in these really cool venues in Iowa. One's over a river, over a bridge, one's in a barn, one's in a mansion on the porch. It's amazing what can happen in your life when you decide that everything happens to the highest good. You get to choose what you believe. And you can pitch a tent in the valley of the shadow of death, or you can come out the other end whistling a happy tune and singing. I recommend that way because it's no fun to live there. And that's what I help people do. I help people find the treasure and tragedy in their life. And you can find it too. And if you just do those few things that I showed you today, oh man, it's amazing what can happen, because one small change changes everything. And that's why we call it quantum healing, because a quantum change is an electron moving from one area of probability to another, and it changes the whole makeup of the element that it is. So that's what I want for you. Epiphany after epiphany after epiphany. Changing your life, opening you up to the joy of infinite possibility, and to remind you that this is who you really are. You're a divine expression of love.